Hey everyone, and welcome to the Beyond Life and Fitness podcast. I'm Cheryl Patton.
And I'm Megan Prince.
We started this podcast as a way to connect with more people who are struggling to fit it all in. The workouts, the food, kids, work, and relationships.
We know that we're not perfect, but we hope that through our struggles and our mistakes and our failures and our successes that we can help more people through their challenges and be successful. So if you want some tips and tricks to help you along your journey to be the best version of yourself, then this is it.
So in this episode, we thought we would do our quick chat on how to get the most out of your coaching if you decide to hire a coach to help you with your nutrition, your training, maybe just one or the other. Because the last thing, as you know, at least for us as coaches, is that we don't want you just paying us, and not putting in the work. We want to make sure that we have laid out a plan that is super realistic, that you literally cannot fail, and then use that as your first stepping stone. And then we just slowly, gradually build on that as you gain confidence in the process, as you gain those, foundational skills of, learning what the macros are, food prepping, putting your meals together, all that good stuff. But yeah, we thought we would just do a really quick chat on how to get the most out of your coaching experience so that we don't feel, and you don't feel, that you are wasting your money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it all starts from that first questionnaire when we send out to people, filling out as much as possible in that questionnaire, filling out as much things that you want, because then it comes back and they're like, well, I need to change this, or I need this. All of it has to be laid out in there, because in order for me to make the best plan for you, I need to know everything that you want to achieve, your goals, why you want to achieve them, what things you like, what things you don't like, what times you eat now, what things will work in regards to your work schedule. All of that stuff, when you have a coach, it's not like a cookie cutter program where we just send a plan out to every single person. We literally, and probably you do too, build those meal plans and plans individually for each person based on what they want to achieve, what their life looks like, what things they like to eat, all that kind of stuff. So I think, first of all, it comes out with putting a lot of work and intention into your questionnaire that you send out to us.
Yep, 100%. And as you alluded to, be as specific and detailed as possible, because if it's not, we're now coming back with more questions, right? So any past injuries, do you have a history of bulimia, anorexia? Do you have any type of mental health issues? Do you have it literally can be anything. Have you beaten cancer in the past? All of that, right? Because that all comes into play as to how we're going to approach your first starting steps of your food programming, your training programming, all of it. So, because our goals is that we want to see you be successful. That's why you hired us as a coach, because we're there to, shorten that pathway to get you from point A to point B versus you doing it all on your own. So we want to see you be successful, so that when we see clients ghost us on check-ins, when we see clients be super vague on check-ins, it just leaves us wondering, what's going on, what's wrong, because we're just not getting any type of feedback, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, and that's what I always say. Well, go to the number 2 when we're starting out is pictures. Beginning pictures. Always beginning pictures. When you don't get those beginning pictures...
Do you have a hard time with that with clients?
Some, but then I have to keep hounding them, because the thing is when your body's not changing and when you aren't seeing the weight move on the scale and that kind of stuff, pictures are always going to tell us the real story. So we might be able... so excited if you saw
measurements,
pictures from the beginning to the end. like, and see the changes in your body, and coach can look at you and say, oh, okay, we are leaning out through here, or this looks a little bit tighter, or this, or maybe let's change your program and do this. But without those beginning pictures, which I'm not going to show anybody them, unless at the end of your program you say, yes, that's okay for you to share them, and obviously your head's not going to be in them. But yeah, number 1, questionnaire. Number 2, pictures. You have to have pictures. It's not like we're showing people, but that's like crucial to know. If I'm doing online coaching and I've never met with the client in person, I have to know what their body looks like, what shape their body is. Yeah. This is what you're trying to change is your body, but you're not sending me a picture of your body so that I can see what we're starting at.
Right.
So you have to have that visual every single week or 2 weeks that you can see the changes in a client's body. That's like number 1. I'm almost like want to send out the questionnaire, and when I get pictures, then you get your program once your pictures are submitted. And I think maybe you have to do it that way, because if not, you don't get them. And I think if you want to get the best out of your coaching, again, pictures. You have to take the pictures.
Yeah. I've had to do that with training. Like, I just don't load their next program.
Yeah.
Because they're not checking in. I haven't heard from them. I can see, like, on the back end with their training app that, they're showing up maybe once, not at all that week. And I'm like, well, they don't get another one because they're not telling me what's going on.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do have to force the issue. But the biggest thing is that you don't ghost your coach. It's actually one of the worst things you can do, because we can't help you and troubleshoot with you if we don't know what's going on.
And I almost want sometimes people to send me those check-ins that are bad, because then guess what? We can work through all of those things together.
Yeah.
Why did you not train this week? What happened with your schedule? Why didn't you get those meals prepped? Why did you have 5 off meals? Like, what did your week look like? And how can I help you to change that? Okay. But if I don't know their negative check-ins, they're only sending the positive ones, then it's not going to help. It's not going to help them at all. And when you're spending money and investing in a coach, relying on them as like a life coach, they're helping you to achieve this goal. You have to be able to communicate with them. You have to have a good relationship with them. Or if you're going out for dinner that weekend and something's coming up, send me the restaurant menu. Let's go through it. Let's see what your options are. But I feel like if you don't have that communication all the time, send me a picture of your sweaty selfie after you work out, because it's accountability. It's fun. But I always know when I'm not getting check-ins that the client's not following the program. So I think it's detrimental to the client's goals for them to not even send it in, even if it's negative.
Correct. And a coach should not make you feel bad for sending in a bad check-in.
No, and I don't, and unless you had a really shitty coach, but for me, I'd be like,
no, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. How can we change this? Let's go.
The coach should be working with you.
Yeah. Let's get on the phone.
Yeah.
Let's make a plan. Like, even if it's just a little tiny plan, let's motivate you. Let's get you back on track. And
sometimes it's just one small, simple tweak or one small, simple idea. Like, one client that I knew who really struggles, her husband does a lot of the grocery shopping and a lot of the cooking. So she does feel that she is sometimes hands tied when it comes to the dinners. And I'm like, okay, all right. Tell me what 3 or 4 typical dinners are that your husband tends to cook, right? So there's everything from chicken fingers to pasta. She named out a couple of the takeout places. And I'm like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. So if you know that your husband's doing like chicken fingers and fries because that's what him and the kids want to eat, then I want you to look at the nutritional label on those items, and I want you to look at the serving size. And then I want you to just once measure out the serving size of those items. And that's what you get. And then load up your plate with any vegetables you can find in the fridge. Add some hummus to it, doesn't matter. And the biggest thing that she has noticed, she's like, when I have those meals, because that's what he's cooked, I'm still hungry. And I'm like, yes, because it's processed food with very little nutritional value. So you can start to see the light bulb go on, like what the difference is when you eat an actual whole food meal versus a highly processed
meal.
Get
your husband on board and show him your meal plan.
He won't. So this is what we're working around. Like this is what we're working around, right? So
what I would do in that situation is on Sundays, I would prep all my meals. For my dinners, 5 dinners, I would have them in the fridge ready to go. Yeah. And I would eat that because then what might happen later on is the kids are like, oh, I want what mommy has.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And for me,
she tried and she has a hard time with that. So
eating something different.
Mm-hmm. So we'll get there.
But then I would also explain to her in the fact that kids have a different metabolism than we do.
Oh, 100%.
So if we're eating what kids are eating, oh God. Like my kid at church this morning had a ice cream sundae that they gave her this morning for her Sunday school with like gummies and stuff on it, 10 a.m. And I'm like, what the heck? If I ate that, it would be like, obviously, like
it wouldn't feel good in my stomach. But that's no different than my 24-year-old son. He's like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm just going to order a pizza.
But you would never eat the same as your husband. So why would you expect that it's okay to eat the same as, the kids? So I'm like, I would just be like, I'm just eating my.
Yeah, but I think that's the difference. People. That's the difference between us and some people, right? And so she's just so tired when she's done work that the thought of having to cook something completely different for her than what everybody else is eating. So this is like our option A workaround right now until we can figure something else out.
And you also taught her in this process that she feels hungry when she doesn't eat it because it's all processed food. So maybe eventually,
like within an hour, and I'm like, yeah, of course you are.
It's good because then you got to show her, okay, well, eat how you want to eat, and then look how you feel.
Yeah,
and then it kind of like, oh, yeah, so doesn't really feel great.
Yeah, and for some people, this is a longer process in order to kind of make those realizations and be willing to be consistent on taking steps to. Changing it. So, but
like one of my clients, she's like her Indian background. So I'm like, I add in things that they generally would eat or say, here's, or like portion sizes and that kind of stuff. So it's not like you can't eat those things, but definitely when you're eating whole foods and vegetables and chicken and rice and potatoes, you can definitely eat a lot more than if like a 500-calorie muffin from Tim Hortons, I could have 2 of my rice, chicken, and vegetable meals easily.
And which one's going to make you feel full?
Yeah. And which one's going to spike your blood sugar and then you're hungry an hour later. So, but for general population, they don't understand that. And it's hard when you see all that food in front of you. This is more food than I've ever eaten.
Yes.
I think my client weighed like 190 and we started her out on like, because she doesn't eat a lot, like only wants to eat like 2 times a day, maybe 3.
I have a client like that too, yeah.
And I said, well, your meals are going to be huge. So I think we started her out probably on the lowest calories I possibly could, maybe 1,800, maybe even a little lower than that because she's not really active. But she's like 1,700, 1,800 calories. That's way too much for me. I'm like, that is at like that is so low.
Yeah.
Because the volume of food that she's eating looks huge.
So did you reduce her calories so that she could just get used to eating more whole food? Like let her body adjust? Like did you lower them down for a short period of time and then start working them back up again?
I would love to have done that if she's even started the program. So this is another thing. And also getting the best out of your coaching program is you have to trust your coach when you go in. If you do not trust your coach when you're going in and second guess what they're doing for you, it's not going to work because like we've said before, like when you say something, like it's either going to happen or not happen. Like you can make it not happen by just not trusting the process at all.
Oh, totally.
And there was a quote
and not believing that you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a quote in Toronto last week. It was on a sign. It was like, does the process know we're trusting it? And I was like, you have to trust in the program. If you don't, then you already failed. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying, like, if you don't trust your coach who you're paying money to, who you've hired, like it's so key to be like, okay, I'll do what you say. Yeah. And then later on, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I did what you said. It's so awesome.
Yeah. I've had, her calories were quite low when she came because again, she just didn't eat. She didn't eat well. A lot of processed food and not like a lot of food during the course of the day. So yeah, like I started her off like where she kind of should have been, which was on the low end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say like 1,400 calories.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I can't eat this. So I had to back it off.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
really
then
hard.
it is. And so I had to back it off. And I'm like, let me know when you start to feel hungry. Let me know when you
and
start
then
to feel
2 weeks
hungry.
from now, they
And then we
will.
just slowly 100 calories here, another 100 calories here, right?
Mhm.
Just little baby steps. You start working it up as that metabolism starts firing back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you can do that, but it's hard as a coach to
Totally.
know how much they need to be eating and being like, oh my God, you're eating 1,400 calories. This makes me feel
This
like,
this makes me want to go to bed. And so
yeah, I'm like, I'm so tired.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, like the biggest things, fill out your questionnaire,
Be as honest and
Pictures.
detailed as possible. Yes,
pictures,
Measurements.
check in weekly, negative or positive, and measurements, and then just obviously staying in contact with us and trusting your coach.
Trusting the coach. Trust us. Don't ghost us. Thanks everybody for listening today, and we truly appreciate you. And let us know what your biggest takeaway was today, and if you have any questions you want answered on the podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to automatically receive your episodes and to help us reach more listeners. We would love to connect with you on our socials, either Facebook or Instagram, with links in the show notes. Till next time, keep taking those small steps towards your best life.